Hi guys, Angela here to talk a bit about emotions and how the Emotion Thesaurus database can help you show, not tell your characters' feelings, which humanizes them to readers so that the characters' experience in the story matter and the readers become more invested in what happens next. Now, there are three big struggles writers tend to have when it comes to emotion. First, they don't consider how many different feelings there are, and so they tend to stick to a narrow range of 5 to 10 emotions. Two, they aren't sure how to personalize those feelings to each individual character so that every expression and response is unique to them. And three, sometimes writers tend to tell instead of show. Emotions are complex and both people and characters can feel many things at once. While this might be a challenge to convey, we've loaded the Emotion Thesaurus with 135 unique emotions to help you write what each character is feeling in a way that fits their personality and expressiveness. You'll see everything from acceptance to horror, schadenfreude, longing, worthlessness. So whatever roller coaster of feelings your character is experiencing, you'll have help describing it. Let's check out an emotion all of us have felt at some point in time: guilt. Now, guilt is where your character feels culpable, often because something they did led to negative fallout, maybe for themselves, people they care about, or others in the story. Now, guilt is in the eye of the beholder because it's not always justified. A character may have to make a choice and only later discover it was the wrong one. And while they did the best they could with the information they had at the time, they'll still feel responsible for the bad outcome. Of course, if your character didn't investigate enough to get the information they needed to make a good choice, that guilt is more deserved because their laziness carried a cost. At the end of the day, if your character feels guilty about something, whether it's justified or not, you have to be able to communicate this to readers so that they understand. Now, to show guilt, we want to consider body language, behavior, and other cues. For example, your character might be the sort to avoid eye contact, display collapsed body posture, or maybe stay away from other people, especially those who have been hurt in some way by their actions. Maybe your character's the type to cover their stomach up because they feel physically sick about what happened. When it comes to figuring out what your character will do when they experience a particular emotion, you'll want to think about who they are and what their personality is like. If they have traits that make them more reserved, they might tend to hide their guilt or even withdraw from the situation. If your character has traits that make them more expressive, you might see them apologizing over and over, reach out for another person's hand, physically connecting with them to say that they're sorry. They might stutter and become flustered as they're talking, or even make a grand gesture to try and fix things. So as you read through these lists, think about what you can imagine your character doing. Personalize emotional responses to the character because this makes readers feel closer to them because those responses are authentic. Another aspect of emotion is what happens within the body, those internal sensations that characters have no control over, at least not right away. Visceral sensations are great when we need to show the intensity of an emotion because they're immediate responses to that catalyst. As soon as guilt hits, a character's throat might thicken or their stomach drops at realizing what they've done. Maybe food doesn't sit well. With viscerals, remember to use them sparingly because when they're overused, it can feel repetitive or even melodramatic. Now, mental responses are the thoughts and obsessions that your character experiences when they feel a particular emotion. In the case of guilt, a character is likely going to replay what happened and their role in it. Maybe they might wish they could go back in time, and they're going to beat themselves up for failing in the moment. Thoughts are a great way to provide context to readers about why your character feels a certain way. But the one drawback is you have to be in the character's point of view to show direct thoughts. Here's a secret. If you want to show your character's thoughts, but they're a non-point of view character, use dialogue. For example, let's say a character feels guilty about his role in a prank gone wrong that ended in him damaging his friend's mom's car. He might say to his friend, "Is she really upset with me?" Or, "I'll pay for the damage, work it off. Whatever your mom wants me to do, I'll do it." These both indicate guilt without us being privy to his exact direct thoughts. You'll see here we have some ideas on what long-term or acute guilt will look like, because the more the character feels to blame or the longer they live with that feeling of guilt, the more destructive and severe it will become. Your character may become so consumed they no longer take care of themselves, weight melts off them because they're so upset they can't eat, maybe they have insomnia or become depressed. all of these things are going to show readers that something is tearing your character up inside. Emotions also tend to lead to other emotions, amping up or down as the situation escalates or de-escalates. These are the most common emotions tied to guilt here, and you can quickly move to other feelings to stay on top of how things shift as the scene progresses. It can also be common for characters to hide what they feel because they don't want others to view them as weak or think that they're vulnerable, or because maybe it would be dangerous for other people to know the truth. One person who should always know what a character is feeling is the reader. So we still need to make sure that we're showing it in a way that they'll pick up on, even if the character is hiding their feelings from everyone else in the story. Now, one thing you wouldn't use the source for is a cut and paste tool. If you write that your character is muttering under his breath or that he curled his fists into a ball, that might be kind of boring. Instead, you want to take the ideas here and write them in a way that's vivid, active, and fits your character. Use your own words. The power verbs here can help you, but just like anything in these lists, think about what it looks like for your character and try to write that action in a fresh way. So the next time you're tempted to write "she was mad" or "his heart pounded in fear," just use this database to brainstorm fresh description that involves readers and adds intensity to your scenes. And if you need more ideas on how to write your character's emotions, check out the tutorial for this thesaurus. And happy writing!